Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's everywhere. Microdosing.
Yeah.
Specifically for ADHD.
Mm-hmm. You hear a lot about the potential, the anecdotes.
Right. But here's the big question we want to dig into. Why is a holistic protocol so crucial, like absolutely essential for microdosing with ADHD?
That's the perfect question. Because our mission today is really to go deeper than just, the surface level.
Okay.
We've gone through the source materials you provided, and we're going to unpack the science, the insights. Some of it's genuinely surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. The goal is for you listening to walk away really getting why this holistic thing isn't just like an optional extra. It's foundational.
Especially with ADHD. Okay, let's unpack that. Because for ages, the story around ADHD has been, well, pretty fixed, hasn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's seen as this disorder, something you're born with.
A brain wiring thing or just, a dopamine disorder. Like, it's just one chemical imbalance.
Right. But the sources we looked at, they're pushing for a really radical shift here.
Yeah.
A different perspective.
How so?
They challenge that whole idea. They suggest that the symptoms we associate with ADHD, trouble focusing, feeling emotionally swamped, that struggle to just start things.
Yeah, the frustrating stuff.
Exactly. They're saying these aren't personal failings. They're actually signs, signals that your body's systems are just overwhelmed.
Wow. Okay, that reframes things completely.
It really does. It means ADHD isn't necessarily the root problem itself.
It's more like a label.
Kind of. It's a classification of symptoms, is how the research puts it.
Yeah.
And those symptoms, they're pointing to something deeper. A systemic dysregulation. It's not just the brain in isolation. It's the whole system being out of sync.
Like a warning light on a car dashboard.
Exactly. The light isn't the problem. It's telling you something under the hood needs attention. With ADHD, the signals suggest the body's regulatory systems are overworked, stressed, exhausted.
So it's not a fixed diagnosis you're stuck with, but maybe a state your body is in.
That's the implication. A dynamic state that you can actually influence and change.
Okay, so not just brain chemistry, it's the whole integrated system.
Yeah.
And our sources bring up something called metabolic psychiatry.
Yes. It's a really fascinating emerging field.
And it suggests that many mental health challenges, including ADHD symptoms, might actually be rooted in metabolic problems in the brain.
That's the core idea. It shifts the focus from just neurotransmitters to, well, energy.
Energy in the brain, how significant is that?
It's absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Your brain is incredibly power hungry. It's only about 2% of your body weight, but it burns through roughly 20% of your total daily energy.
Wow. That's disproportionate.
Hugely.
Yeah.
And it needs that energy for everything. Thinking, feeling, filtering noise, regulating your heartbeat, everything.
So when we talk metabolism here, it's about how the brain gets and uses that energy.
Exactly. And the key players are these amazing little things inside your cells called mitochondria.
The powerhouses.
The tiny powerhouses, yeah. They generate the fuel. They're like these little semi-autonomous engines in every cell.
And if those powerhouses aren't running well, problems start. The sources mention oxidative stress, like cellular rust.
Precisely. Oxidative stress is basically damage from unstable molecules called free radicals. And this rust damages the mitochondria.
Making them less efficient.
Much less efficient. So they can't produce the energy the brain desperately needs.
The sources used an analogy. A car.
Yeah, a pristine car with a faulty fuel system looks great, but if the fuel isn't getting to the engine properly, it sputters, it stalls.
So even a structurally healthy brain can't work well if its energy supply is choked off.
Exactly. It's trying to perform complex tasks on an empty tank.
That makes so much sense. So following that idea, energy is the currency of your body. And if your metabolic ecology, that whole energy system, is struggling, you're essentially broke. Energy-wise.
You're running on a deficit budget. And like any budget, when funds are low, you have to make tough choices.
Triage.
Yeah. The body has to decide where to allocate its limited energy. And guess what often gets shortchanged?
The complex stuff.
The really energy-intensive brain functions, especially in the prefrontal cortex.
The brain's CEO.
The CEO, exactly. Responsible for focus, impulse control, planning, emotional regulation, all very costly, metabolically speaking.
So if the CEO's office is underfunded,
things start to fall apart. Focus wavers, impulses win, planning feels impossible.
And the sources mentioned brain scans actually show this, less energy activity in those areas for people with ADHD.
Yes, there's research showing reduced metabolic activity in those key prefrontal regions. It's a physical energy supply issue, not just, lack of effort.
And crucially, this isn't just a brain thing. The sources were clear on that. People with ADHD are much more likely to have other metabolic problems like obesity and diabetes. That connection is huge.
It really drives home that ADHD isn't just in your head. It's a whole body issue.
There are common roots.
Seems like it. Things like dopamine regulation issues, and dopamine is involved in energy and metabolism, not just reward and chronic inflammation.
Inflammation taxes the system too.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Puts a huge energy burden on the body, further stressing those mitochondria. So yeah, looking at the whole physiological picture, metabolic health, stress, inflammation, it's all connected. It's seeing the forest, not just one tree.
Okay. This whole body stressed system view leads us right into chronic stress and something called allostatic load. But first, the autonomic nervous system, the ANS. It automates energy flow, right? Based on whether we're stressed or not stressed.
Basically, yes. It has two main modes: fight or flight when stressed, mobilizing energy for action.
And rest and digest when not stressed. For healing, repair, calm.
Exactly. It directs resources accordingly.
Sure.
But in ADHD, this system is often out of balance.
How so?
A key part is the HPA axis, the main stress response system. In ADHD, it's often dysregulated, meaning the body struggles to return to that calm rest and digest state after the stressor is gone.
So you feel constantly edgy. Or maybe the opposite, just burned out.
Both are common.
Right.
Either constantly on high alert or completely exhausted from being on high alert for so long. It's draining.
And there's a way to measure this, right? Heart rate variability, HRV.
Yes, HRV is a good indicator of nervous system flexibility.
And people with ADHD often show lower HRV.
Consistently, yes.
Yeah.
Lower HRV suggests the system is more rigid, less adaptable. It's kind of stuck in a state of high alert.
So that feeling of restlessness, anxiety, being emotionally overwhelmed, it has a physical basis. It's not just in your head.
Absolutely. It's a physiological state.
Right.
And that state, being constantly high alert, is continuously draining your energy reserves.
Yeah.
Which leads directly to
Allostatic load. Let's define that. Allostasis is the body adapting to stress to stay stable.
It's the process of achieving stability through change, yeah. Dynamic equilibrium.
But allostatic load is the bad part. The wear and tear from chronic stress.
Exactly. It's the cumulative burden, the cost of that constant adaptation over a long time.
And the big connection here is that ADHD is seen as a state of high allostatic load.
From this perspective, yes. The body's systems are literally worn out from constantly trying to function without enough energy and under chronic stress.
Like revving a car engine constantly without maintenance.
Perfect analogy. Eventually, things start breaking down. And this helps explain why ADHD often comes with other issues: anxiety, depression, sleep problems.
The comorbidities.
Right. They're not necessarily separate problems. They might be the results of the same underlying problem. A system collapsing under the weight of chronic stress and energy depletion.
That is a massive shift. It means we need to move beyond just managing symptoms.
And focus on addressing the root cause, which is this deeply dysregulated, exhausted system.
The sources had that comparison table contrasting the old model with this new one.
Yeah, it lays it out clearly. The conventional model sees ADHD as a fixed neurodevelopmental disorder, brain-based, a chemical imbalance, treated with stimulants, focused on symptoms, no real concept of allostatic load.
Pretty narrow.
Right. Then the metabolic ecology model views ADHD as symptoms of systemic dysregulation, rooted in metabolic or mitochondrial issues, recognizes high allostatic load, and aims for holistic regulation to address the root cause.
And it explains why just throwing a substance at it might not work, which brings us perfectly to why a substance-first approach to microdosing often falls short.
Despite the hype.
Yeah. But first, let's quickly define microdosing again. Tiny amount of a psychedelic, right?
Yes, and the key term is subthreshold, not subperceptual.
Right.
It's below the level where you have noticeable psychedelic effects, about 1/10 of a standard dose or even less.
The doorway analogy was good. You're still on your side of the door.
Exactly. You might notice subtle shifts, colors brighter, less stress maybe, but you can function normally. You haven't crossed the threshold into a macrodose experience. It's not about tripping.
Okay. So we know citizen science, like Fadiman's work, reported benefits for focus, emotions, creativity, including for ADHD.
Lots of positive anecdotes, yeah.
But then lab research is inconsistent. Some feel great, some feel nothing, some feel worse, more anxious. How does that square?
It seems contradictory, but the sources argue it's not the substances being unreliable. It's the study design, often based on that flawed chemical-centric model.
The idea that the molecule itself does the same thing in everyone.
Right, which ignores the incredibly complex biological system it's interacting with. What works in a controlled Petri dish often doesn't translate directly to a human body with all its variables.
Because we're not petri dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our internal state, our environment, it all matters profoundly.
And that leads to the core idea: the substance is an amplifier.
Yes, this is crucial.
Its success doesn't just depend on the chemical. It depends on you, your body, your mind when you take it. And for ADHD, with that stressed, depleted system, this is even more critical.
Absolutely. The substance interacts with your unique internal landscape. If your system is already stressed, depleted, dysregulated, like we see often in ADHD, the substance won't magically fix that.
It might amplify the stress or the anxiety.
It could. It amplifies what's already present.
Yeah.
So introducing it without addressing the underlying context, the high allostatic load, the energy deficit, is risky. It might give a temporary boost, but it's more likely to magnify existing states, good or bad.
So the internal and external context is everything. Which brings us to set and setting. Your internal world set and external environment setting.
Two pillars of context.
And a thriving metabolic ecology. That internal energy world is the most important factor.
Fundamentally, yes, because it dictates how your brain functions.
Yeah.
And to understand that, we need to see the brain as a prediction engine.
Not just reacting, but predicting.
Constantly. Predicting what your body needs, managing your body budget, allocating energy ahead of time. It makes a guess based on past experience and current input.
And compared it to reality.
Right. And if there's a mismatch, a prediction error, fixing it costs energy.
And a dysregulated brain makes more bad predictions, wasting energy.
Exactly. In ADHD, the brain often struggles to balance expectations with reality. Difficulty filtering distractions is one example. The brain's trying to process everything because its predictive model isn't efficient. Constant prediction errors mean constant energy drain.
And this connects to interoception, feeling your internal body signals.
Strongly. Interoception, feeling your heartbeat, hunger, emotions, is often reduced in ADHD.
So the brain isn't getting clear signals from the body.
Right, which makes it harder to make accurate predictions and manage the energy budget. Leads to that feeling of being internally chaotic, overwhelmed. The internal map doesn't match the territory.
Wow. Hard to filter the outside world, hard to read the inside world. And this connects to mindset being a reflection of your body's energy economy.
Directly. Your mindset isn't separate from your physiology. Think about the default mode network, the DMN.
The mind-wandering network.
Right. In ADHD, it's often hyperactive. The brain is always on, ruminating, trying to make sense of everything.
Which sounds exhausting.
It is. And it's not a flaw. It's a brain operating in an energy crisis. Executive functions, focus, planning are metabolically expensive.
So when the budget's in deficit,
the brain conserves energy by defaulting to well-worn pathways, like getting stuck in negative self-talk loops. It's the path of least resistance, energetically speaking.
Which explains the willpower trap. Trying to change habits or thinking patterns, neuroplasticity, is super energy demanding.
One of the most demanding things the brain does. It's like a major renovation.
And if you're already running on empty,
there's just no surplus energy in the budget to fund that remodeling. That's why willpower alone often fails when you're dysregulated. You literally lack the energy resources for change.
So a thriving metabolic ecology isn't just nice to have, it's necessary to fuel change.
It provides the fundamental resources needed to build new neural pathways.
That is such a game changer. It's biology, not lack of trying. And it's not just the internal set, but the external setting too. The environment sending safety or danger signals via neuroception.
Yeah, that subconscious surveillance system. Your brain is constantly scanning your surroundings.
If it feels safe, calm, resources go to rest and digest, healing, creativity, connection.
Exactly. Optimal resource allocation. But if it perceives a threat, loud noise, clutter, a stressed person, resources divert to stress responses. Fight, flight, freeze.
And for us mammals, other people's nervous systems are a huge signal, co-regulation.
The most powerful signal, often. Attuning to someone calm signals safety, that ventral vagal state of ease. Attuning to someone stressed predicts danger and triggers your own stress response, even unconsciously.
And there's that hierarchy. Flight, then fight, then freeze, then flop shutdown if it's overwhelming.
Right, a biological cascade.
So a dysregulated environment is constantly making withdrawals from your energetic resources. It really shifts focus from willpower to energy management.
Absolutely. Your environment isn't passive. It actively impacts your energy budget. a chaotic office, a stressful relationship. These are constant energetic drains. Understanding this helps explain feeling depleted. It's not a character flaw. It's energetic withdrawals triggered by your setting. Optimizing your environment is as crucial as managing your internal state.
Okay, we've built the case. A holistic approach is essential. Now let's get practical with the framework itself.
The 5 steps.
Goal, setting, intention, and dosing. A logical, science-based path to reduce that allostatic load and strengthen your metabolic ecology. It makes you the architect.
Empowers you to design the process, yes.
And to make it real, the sources gave us those 3 profiles of ADHD overwhelm.
Very relatable. First, the productive procrastinator. Self-employed, great ideas, works in intense bursts, then crashes hard, struggles with consistency.
I know that pattern.
Then, the overthinker. Loves their job, maybe good relationships, but constantly battling stress, difficult boss, office drama, people-pleasing, feels restless, anxious.
Internal and external pressure cooker.
And finally, the disconnected avoider. Life's just okay. Dreams of more but avoids the steps. Feels lethargic, maybe lazy, gets lost in distractions, feels lonely.
Each showing a different flavor of that dysregulated system. Right. Let's walk through the steps. Step 1, goal the why, what you want to do. This guides everything.
Yeah, whether it's health focused, like improving TBI recovery, reducing migraines, boosting energy, or about productivity, creativity, it's the destination.
So for our profiles.
Productive procrastinator.
Yeah.
Goal might be show up in my business with consistency and sustainable energy, not just frantic bursts.
Specific. Actionable.
Overthinker, maybe not get so agitated at my coworkers and boss, respond with more calm and clarity. Focuses on their internal experience and response.
Makes sense.
Disconnected avoider. Could be bring more genuine pleasure and engagement into my life through active participation, moving beyond just okay.
Clear goals. Okay, step 2, set the body budget. Taking that honest look at your energetic resources.
Your internal metabolic state. And as we said, if you're dysregulated, you're likely in deficit.
And relying on willpower or external pressure deadlines, fear isn't sustainable.
Right, because it relies on stress hormones, dopamine, norepinephrine bursts. It keeps the system dysregulated and depleted long term. It's borrowing energy you don't have.
So for the profiles, what does their set look like?
Corrective procrastinator. They ignore body signals, interoception fail, hunger, cold, tired they push through, leading to crashes, more stress, running on empty.
Disconnected from their body.
Overthinker. Easily tipped into internal fight mode, but externally they people pleaser. Lots of internal conflict, self-criticism, drains energy.
Exhausting internal battle.
Disconnected avoider. Relies on rare motivation bursts. Pushing themselves, even for fun stuff, leads to fatigue, sadness. The internal resources just aren't consistently there.
Paints a clear internal picture. Now, step 3, setting your external environment. Physical and social signals of safety or danger via neuroception. Co-regulation being key.
And a dysregulated setting makes constant energy withdrawals.
What does that look like for the profiles?
Productive procrastinator. Maybe a cluttered home office, piles everywhere, constant visual stress signals, undermining focus and calm, amplifies the internal chaos.
The environment reflects the internal state.
Overthinker. A stressful work environment. Complaining colleagues, demanding boss. Keeps their nervous system on high alert, prevents restoration. Constant drain.
No chance to recharge.
Disconnected avoider. Maybe a well-meaning partner who's always trying to fix them. Creates a subtle, constant feeling of something's wrong with me. A signal of judgment, not safety. Reinforces withdrawal.
Goal, setting, covered. Now, step 4. Intention, cultivating a new way of being. This feels like the core. The sources distinguish it clearly. A goal is what you want to do. An intention is how you want to be.
Yes. This is not just semantics. It is the active ingredient. It's about priming the brain for new behaviors, creating specific cues to interrupt old automatic habits.
How does that work neurologically?
When you set a clear intention, you're creating a signpost for your brain's prediction and attention systems. The salience network, the reticular activating system, you're telling them, pay attention to this.
Like highlighting something important.
Exactly. For example, I will notice when I feel uncomfortable. It primes the brain to actually register those feelings it might usually ignore.
And this creates that critical pause, a moment for the prefrontal cortex, the CEO, to step in.
Yes. A chance to choose a new, more aligned action instead of the old default response. This is why the sources strongly state, intention is the active ingredient that makes the practice effective. An intentional practice is the only logical path forward.
Without it, the substance is just acting on whatever state you're already in.
Precisely. The intention provides the map for neuroplastic change. Let's apply it.
Okay.
Productive procrastinator
Yeah.
ignores body signals. Intention, I take regular breaks to check in with my body and honor its signals for sustainable energy. A specific cue addressing their interoception issue.
Actively building awareness.
Overthinker, agitated at work, people pleases. Intention. I practice staying present with uncomfortable feelings as they arise at work before reacting. Creates the pause, fosters emotional regulation.
Choosing response over reaction.
Disconnected avoider, intention. I lovingly prepare nutritious meals and engage in enjoyable self-care so I have energy to enjoy my life. Shifts focus to internal nourishment and pleasure, priming the brain for engagement.
This intentional priming makes the brain ready to learn, to use that neuroplastic window microdosing might offer. It makes total sense. Okay, that's a powerful setup. Goal, set, setting, intention. Then step 5, dosing substance, dose, and schedule. The order is crucial.
Only after the first 4 steps are clear.
The substance is the catalyst, not the entire solution. How does it catalyze change within this framework?
Its chemical components affect brain metabolism, energy allocation. But its key role here is promoting neuroplasticity. Intention directs attention.
And the substance boosts the brain's ability to rewire.
Exactly. This ties into Dr. Gould-Dullin's research on psychedelics reopening critical periods.
Those developmental windows for rapid learning, so the substance creates a temporary opportunity to unlearn old patterns and form new ones.
A super learning window, essentially. A chance to install the new software, the new ways of being defined by your intention.
Amazing. But the sources stress these substances aren't interchangeable.
Critically important point. Each has a unique pharmacological language. How it interacts with receptors, what networks it affects.
Like one might amplify senses, another emotions, another create distance.
Exactly. LSD might be more amplifying, stimulating. Psilocybin, more emotional, introspective. Ketamine, more dissociative. Different languages.
Which is exactly why the goal, setting intention is so critical. The substance opens the door, but its language has to work with your context.
Precisely. If the language clashes with your needs or environment,
it can make things worse, especially with heightened neuroplasticity.
It can absolutely backfire, yes.
Yeah.
Let's use the profiles again to show mismatches.
Okay.
Productive procrastinator plus LSD, stimulating, amplifying. Their clutter likely increased distraction and overwhelm, amplifying the chaos, hindering the goal of consistency.
Makes sense. Language clashes with setting.
Overthinker plus psilocybin can amplify anxiety, bring up difficult emotions at the worst possible time, making work more stressful. Disconnected avoider plus ketamine, they already struggle with avoidance. Ketamine might reinforce detachment, making it harder to connect to pleasure or take action. Reinforces the problematic pattern.
Wow. So choosing the right catalyst, aligned with everything else, is paramount. It's precision work. Okay, this framework truly empowers you. It makes you the architect. So, recapping our central question, why is a holistic framework essential for microdosing with ADHD?
And the answer comes from that big perspective shift. ADHD symptoms aren't signs of a broken brain, but predictable outcomes of a system with a depleted energy budget and high allostatic load.
So the aim isn't fixing a flaw, but reducing that load, strengthening your metabolic ecology.
Exactly. And the goal, setting, intention, dosing framework provides the path. It ensures you understand your whole context, internal and external, before introducing a catalyst.
You define your goal, assess your resources, shape your environment, set a clear intention, then choose the right tool.
Making you the architect, guiding the change.
Understanding this is huge. That's the first step. But applying it, that's the real journey, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It takes practice. Developing self-awareness, consistency, learning to course correct, basically, nervous system regulation skills.
And importantly, these are skills anyone can learn. It's not magic.
Definitely learnable skills. But the journey from knowing to doing, that can be tough.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get the concepts, understand your set and setting are important. It's another thing entirely when old patterns kick in, life throws curveballs, and that dysregulation surges back.
Right. It's easy to fall back into old ways, then.
It is. And developing these skills, applying the framework consistently, especially with self-compassion, well, it can be really challenging to do that alone, without support.
So a final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah, maybe reflect on this. How can you cultivate that consistent self-awareness for your unique metabolic ecology? And what kind of compassionate support might help you integrate these skills, especially when things get tough? Because knowledge is powerful, but sustained compassionate practice is where the real transformation happens.